Good morning, welcome to Greenwood Bonsai Studio today. We've gone through quite a spell of dry weather, so we've not done any videos for a while because we've all been very busy keeping everything watered and the nursery looking good at this time of year. I want to do a video today a little bit different. We're going to do a video on this specimen Trident maple. We've done some beginners videos, we've done some more advanced videos. This is a tree that's recently been purchased by us from a private bonsai collection. It had been owned by the chap for quite some number of years. It's a very mature specimen of Trident maple with an unbelievably heavy trunk and a nice base to it. It's in a handmade bonsai pot, and it's an awesome tree, and it's a tree that a lot of us would like to have in our collection, quite rightly. And it's been trimmed by the owner over recent years, and it's in good shape. A little bit of new growth just starting to pop out on it in the last couple of weeks. And even a tree of this sort of quality, you've always got to look at it with a critical eye and think, can it be improved? Are there things that need doing to it? And yes, there are. So this tree, we've got a window of opportunity to enhance this tree. It's the end of June here at the moment, and at the end of June it's a good time for defoliating, leaf cutting maples, Japanese maples, Trident maples. So this tree, I want to trim it for structure to try and improve it, and I can't see the structure of this tree because of all the leaves on it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to defoliate it. That's a total defoliation of leaf. Now by doing that, it will allow me to see the structure, and I can trim some branches out. It will also allow me to repot it out of season, i.e. now at the end of June. Because these roots where they come down here and they're flat, I think if we can get this into a deeper pot and we tilt the tree forward a bit, we might make this be less noticeable and it will just enhance it. And if anything, the tree's outgrown this pot a little bit. We've also got some extension on these branches, so a little bit too long. So I want to chase the tree back in a little bit to make it more compact and then grow it out over the next couple of years. So we're going to do something to address the roots. We're going to trim the tree structurally, and then we're going to see what pot we've got that we could perhaps pop it into. So defoliating on these, same as with most Japanese maples. So the reason to defoliate, we take every leaf off, and you normally just cut just behind the leaf. You leave the petiole, the leaf stalk in place. Yeah, these very small ones are sometimes easier on Tridents if you just pluck them out, and this is what we're aiming for on the branches. Yeah, so we'll speed that up a little bit. Me and Josh are going to do that over the next few minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll do some structural pruning and explain to you how we can make this tree that is already excellent even more awesome. Thank you.
I'm reaching out today, I'm feeling sweet. If life gets in my way, well that's on me, yeah. By the time I make my crown, will I be asleep? If life is my playground, why don't I feel free? It's easy, I know this, that we'll be fine. Believe me, I've seen it, the world is mine. I'm reaching out today, I'm feeling sweet. If life gets in my way, well that's on me, yeah. Sometimes I just feel so warm in my dream. I hope that the same goes for you, my queen. We are falling down. We can't give.
Okay, so Josh and I have spent about half an hour just taking 99% of the leaves off this, haven't we, Josh? and there's a few still left to come off, but we can see the structure better. And there's a few improvements we can make with this tree. You know, it's a specimen tree, it's been well cared for, but it's got a bit heavy up in the top here, a few crossing branches. There's a few branches that, you know, they're not, it would enhance the tree if we remove them, and it would give more space to the ones that are more fluid, have nicer movement, and are more quality branch. So a few that stick out to us, yeah, is this lowest branch here. So if you're looking from the front, where this comes out, this is quite lumpy with a hammerhead. Then these two here just come out from it and just both cross over, and also don't have much taper to them. So if we're chasing them back into here, we're going to lose taper. And also this branch, when it's in leaf, is quite opposite to the one on the left. So I'm wondering if it would look better, more asymmetrical, if we had this foliage here, and that we didn't need this, and we step up to foliage in this part. We've also got a branch in here. So the front of the tree was towards you just then. So round here at the back of the tree, this one here comes straight up, and then it's flat, and then this one comes up and twines through like this. That isn't a very good formation, so that is a prime candidate to be removed. So with this, doing this sort of work, you know, you're doing it today, but you're doing it today because you want the tree to be better in sort of 3 to 5 years time, and which in bonsai terms is quite a small space of time. So if I can get in there, tidy that up a little bit. So we've reduced that back, got rid of that lump there. Now this branch here coming through the centre we don't need. So there's a couple of dead stubs here. We don't need this one. So on a lot of these branches there's a few little in here, not a few little dead stubs. So they want cleaning up as we work our way through. I think we'll let's have another look at the top. So as we work our way through this branch, tell you what, let me spin round here and we'll do like this branch first. So this has just got a little bit of wire on it pulling it down. Look, we don't really need that on anymore, it's been on for quite some time. So we're going to take off these little leaves, any little stubs, dead shoots here, yeah, they always want to be tidied up on a tree this sort of quality. Yeah, it's just worth going through branch by branch, making it as neat as you can. Take off these little leaves, and then we're going to shorten these back to that bud. Take off this stub, and here where it's coming up at the tip with this bit heavy, we'll shorten that back to there. We'll take that stub there off, so we're getting more taper coming down, more delicate growth. And the same here, little dead stubs off, neatening those up. Coming along here, we'll get rid of this lump at the end there, and that's just nicely done, just to taper it back in. This one is a little bit long and spindly, we'll shorten that back to a break there. Same with this one, that will take just the stub off. You've got to be critical with this, you see here, that middle bit is just a little bit lumpy, whereas this bit is given more delicacy, so is that. So that middle bit we can just take out. So it's just the little things like that that are going to make the difference on a tree, and maintain, and not just maintain, but push forward the refinement of this tree. So, but we do have to, sometimes we're going to take a step back. So once we do this initially today, it'll be less twiggy, but then in years to come, as we build the twigs up, it'll end up being a high quality tree, you know. So if it goes to a show, you know, those of you that show trees, a lot of the shows are in winter, and the structure of the trees is prominent, and that's why we display them in winter. So we need to trim out some of the structure that isn't what we want, and grow better structure, more befitting this quality of tree. So we'll chase it back like this, and again, now we're on this sort of perimeter of this branch, then we can chase some of these next level ones back even more. Let's have a look at that big branch that we didn't really like. So this has always been a sneaky branch, hasn't it? Because it's coming out from the back and it's come round to the front of the tree. And if you just look, you see in here, this comes up here, it's quite thick. And then here it's been cut back, but then these haven't been trained. So these have just got, these have over thickened, yeah. And this is really a bit of an issue. So you could just take this thick one off, this one off, and still have some foliage here. But it's still a little bit naughty really, because it's coming out round the back. And also it's hiding some of this base. So I'm of a mind to take that off and go with the left hand branch stepping up to this one. And maybe in future some of this can be just wired down a little bit to make it more elegant. And then we've just not got that, when you're looking at this tree, that sort of symmetrical plane where it just goes straight across the bottom and then domed. We're going to move away from that and make it a little bit more, in my eyes, a little bit more dynamic. Yeah. So we'll whip that one there off at the back. In fact, we need that one out of the way first. There's a little dead bit there, what's tidying up, and then this one here. Should look a lot cleaner. Yeah, I mean, look at how structurally, you see, now that's off, the structure of that is not befitting this quality of tree, this sort of hammerhead here and these. So it does take a bit of consideration, bit of know-how. Yeah, once we cut them off we can't stick them back on, but I did have a 5-minute think about that off camera and decided that's the best option. So I'm going to start now on this right hand side, chasing back just to get this more delicate growth. So a lot of these where it's just drifting out, just coming back in like this, like that. Yeah, here. Well, that's the one I cut off earlier. Let's get rid of that one. Here, that's a little dead stub that's not doing anything. This one here, take that off, and then we'll trim it to here. Take those little leaves off there. There's a little bit there that's died off. Little stub here and here, and then this one here, that's growing off at a funny angle, so I don't want that one. And you see this one here that I've kept because it's got this on it. In fact, I don't really want this one here, and that's coming off that one there, which is right next to that first one. So let's get rid of that. It will give us a bit more space in there, so they're not conflicting each other quite so much. Get in there with a concave pruner. We don't want this stuff growing down. And then a bit of crossing over branches just here. So how do we make a decision here? Look, you see this one coming out. This is nice, little zigzag movement through here, tapering, tapering, tapering. This is the imposter, look, it's jumping off back there, it's going over the top of that, under this one and here. So that one is a prime candidate for removal. Yeah. Let's go in and just tidy that up a little bit more from that side. Then this one's growing up a little bit too much. I'm going to shorten that back into here for this one. This one be a little bit tighter on some of these. Try and decide whether we need this. I think I'll keep some of this for now, but we'll just shorten it back. So taking it back in like this, and then encouraging it to then grow back out from this sort of structure. Ultimately, we want this to just be out here a little bit. We want it to be out here with a lumpiness. So that's tidied that up quite nicely. Just going to continue. Some of these branches here, You know, these little bits of fluffy bits growing right where the branch is starting at the origin of the branch isn't a befitting thing, so they want taking off. This one, little bit dead stub there. So I'm just working my way around, just neatening it up, tidying it up. So I'll do that for a bit, and then we'll come back and show you the finished result once that's all completed. So we've been fairly hard on the lower sections of the tree, cutting out growth that we don't need. We just took an ugly branch off here. This one here wants to be pulled down to fill in just here. This is another one that's a little bit awkward towards the top of the tree. Which one was it now? If we come up here at the top, apex up to here, then this one, it was coming off the side, coming up the top of this branch and cutting through, it's forming this little section here. That's a bad formation. So I'm going to go in there, and that's another cut we're going to make. It's going to take out this section, leaving us with this, and then that one there is crossing through that we don't need, and then all these, if I can shorten them back to something, I'm going to shorten them back in here at the top of the tree. Okay, working our way up to the apex now. Final sort of section to come off, this lumpy section here where this is quite heavy, so we're going to reduce that back. We've got this finer growth here, so we're just going to take it back to there. Look, we're going to keep this slightly finer one, trim that back, and as we get round the other side here, this is a little bit heavy, going back a little bit too far. Going to reduce that as well. Now this is this is stage one of maybe 3-part process. You know, there's another bit, this might come back further as this buds out. This one we'll need to pull down into here, we can do that in a little while. This one here is perhaps a little bit tall, we could reduce that back. But for some of these, we'll see how they respond to the pruning and where they bud out from. We'll put some wound sealant, lac balsam on all these cuts. We'll go round it, make sure there's no other stubs and knuckles on it. Just as we've just been back in the studio to charge the camera up, and as we came back out, when you see this tree with that branch removed, we've all said we much prefer it with that gone. So in here, I'm going to leave those at the back and this to create a more rounded, broad apex. We'll pull this one down, we'll do that once it's potted. So let me get round to potting it, let's have a little think. And this is the front in here. It's in a beautiful handmade pot, but it could do with something a bit bigger. And a little bit more depth. Now because we've leaf cut this tree, it's not losing moisture through transpiration, and it does give you opportunity to do a repot at this time of year. That is very solid in there. I thought I'd cut those wires and it'll just lift out really easy for the camera. It'll be easy, show you, like, just to show you all that I know what I'm doing. But that has been in there for quite some time, so I'm going to run in the studio and get myself a little sickle so we can persuade it to come out of the pot a little bit more. You can cut the camera there, Josh. Okay, so we've had a tickle around the roots now, so this should lift out a little bit easier. So that's been in there for a number of years, or probably 3 years growth in that in the UK. So that's why it was held in a little bit. So we'll get that out onto the turntable. We'll get this pot out of the way, and we'll try and find a replacement pot to put it into. So we just teased the roots out on the trident, trimmed them back a little bit, and we can do that because we've leaf cut it. We've had a look around the shop to find a pot. I want to put it into something deeper than it was in, to tilt it forward a little bit more and have a nicer transition into those roots. And also I want to grow it out for the next couple of years to build up the ramification from we've cut sections out. So I'm going into this, it's going to afford it a little bit more depth because they're quite thirsty trees, and it's going to help us out with those roots. It's about maybe 1.5 inches shorter than the one it was in, but obviously we've took a lot of width off the lower section of the tree, so it doesn't need to be as long as it was before, and we'll balance that with a little bit more depth. I think we'll put a bit more Akadama in, and we'll see what that looks like. It only just fits in here. We might have to take a bit more root off, but once it's settled down onto there, what I'm wanting to do, before this was like this and the soil level was here, and I didn't like to see these ends. It's better if we can drop it forward like that, then the soil level is going to be up here. It's going to make that look so much nicer. It's a good enhancement on that. So we'll lift it out, we'll take a bit more root off this side and a little bit off that side, and then we'll drop it back in. Let's try it back in now. Put a bit more root off those ends. That's surprising with a tree like this, because it's such a deep pot, quite heavy, because we've got such a heavy trunk on the tree, it can balance it really quite well. So we'll just get it filled in with some Akadama, and then we'll come back to it. We'll get this around the edge. We'll get it worked down with a potting stick down around the edge of the root ball. This should be okay in here for another 2 or 3 years. It's a bit bigger than the one, got more depth than we had before. And doing it mid-season like this is all good, because we've leaf cut it. Just gives us a little window of opportunity to do it. If this tree had been in our care in spring, of course, we would have done it in spring. But it's just recently come to us, so we didn't have the luxury of doing it in spring. But it does mean that we can quickly do it now. Very vigorous tree. Even in the UK, when our weather's not particularly good, they're very vigorous. If you're watching this in United States, the growth that you get on these over there is so much more than we get here. It's really phenomenal. But even in the UK, they're a quick growing, vigorous tree. They respond to this work with no issues at all. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't be doing it. So it's unusual with a tree like this. Obviously it's a magnificent tree to start with, but that doesn't mean you can just, you're always going to be looking at it to enhance it. There's always little tweaks, things to do, things that naturally are going to get overlooked sometimes by the owner, until somebody professional or somebody different looks at it, and you notice little bits and bobs, and you think, oh, would that be nice? So you've got to always have a question in mind to think, do I need that bit? Would it be better without it? And try to envisage that and move it forward. So we'll get this wired in, tidied up. We'll pop some wound sealant on those. The other thing we were going to do, I'm not too stressing about the branches, but there's a couple of little bits that wanted altering. One was this section here that I wanted to pull down, so that we can just pull down with a little bit of wire like that. And then the other one that wants the same sort of treatment, in my eyes, is this one here, and we can pull that down and put it from here just down. Just a couple of little wires just to help manipulate those into a nicer area, so there's not a gap here. Thinking future, this one here might come off as this fills out here and here, then that one there will be the next candidate to go, to clean it up a little bit. Maybe another little section out the top. So once this responds, this one that we cut back, once this leaves out, this one here leaves out, we might be able to get rid of that one there. So that's probably for next season when we do it. In fact, having said that, look, if I pulled it there, it doesn't look too bad, it sort of fills in. Might just get a little bit of wire and pull it down into there as a better formation. Like I say, there's always improvement to do on trees like this, even even aged specimen trees. So I hope you enjoyed the little video today. It's unusual, we just got out in the sun and managed to get it done quickly for you, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you very much.